And so we meet again. There's a reason I don't use my Stax all the time. It's because if I did, I'd remember they exist. And then I'd be like, Aeolus, why Stax? Stax. So I tend to ignore them. But someone contacted me and said, hey, I modified a pair of Stax L700s and the SRM252S little baby amplifier, or energizer I should call it. Would you like to have a listen? And I couldn't say no. It was like, of course I want to hear them. Please don't be great. They're great. Well, here's the thing. The actual ear speakers themselves only have a detachable cable mod. Only. It's a very well executed mod. I will link in the description. He has a post on HeadFi. I'm going to invite him to copy that post over to Hi-Fi Guides forums if you'd want to read it there and hopefully get that, because he actually had to 3D print this section here. The square exists in stock form, and he had to redo it so that it would take that connector. And he's using the exact same connectors as Mr. Speakers uses, and that was a choice based solely on the high voltage that I would have to carry. These connectors are rated for a higher voltage than most other things. Like, you certainly can't do like a 3.5, because then it would ground out and explosions. It's like 600 volts, so bad. So the actual ear speakers themselves, that's the only modification to them, is the removal of the wire, because the wire is attached. Now, there is a brand spanking new set of L700s, which I believe are tuned slightly differently with detachable cables. And that's tempting, but not for, what do they run? I'm not updating Firefox now. Jesus. They run, this is $1,569. No. Not with the same headband and everything else, no. But it is nice to have detachable cables, so you could just like pop them off and then, you know, go about your business. I wonder what's happening inside of that. Think I could light a cigarette with the prongs in there? I hope not. So that's the basics, long and short of this. He's used these a lot more than I have because his pads are a little bit softer. We're going to talk about some other, I'm going to combine a couple of things here. As you can see on my set, brand new pads, nice and stiff. And you see that red and blue stripe? That is a 3D printed spacer made by SOCAS. Oh, I wasn't going to pull it off, but now I'm going to pull it off. And he sent me several of these over the past few months. And every time he sent one, I'm like, can you make it thinner? Can you make it thinner? And this is the thinnest one he makes. And you look at it and go, Zeos, is it even worth it for like a 1/8 of an inch, or I think this is 4 millimeters? Is it worth it for such a small spacer? Oh, fuck yes it is. So with his worn out pads, he might need a slightly thicker one. But my biggest problem with the Stax as far as comfort went was that your ear went into this hole and then pressed against that. Now I've spun my, this is the little replaceable cover you can take out. And on his, it's right side out. On mine, it's reversed. And I'll show you why I've reversed it as soon as I throw it on the floor. See reviews. Here's the stock cover. Here's this vinyl with this sharp fucking vinyl lip that's supposed to be on the outside. So your back of your ear hits this sharp vinyl lip. So you just turn it around this way. Oh, soft fabric. Okay. So that's basically the only mods I've done to mine, are reverse this. And I should have popped it up from that side, which actually bends. And then they have these spacers. They screw in here and pop into the stock holes there. And all the other holes align with what's on the pads. Because SOCAS doesn't just make spacers. Oh God, I gotta be real careful with these. I forget how brittle they are. They also make adapters, oh, drop that, like this, which would replace the front fascia, and then you could put this specific one This specific one is for those giant Sony pads, which I actually did find again on Amazon, so I will link them. So if you want to have giant cush pads, or they make other adapters that look like this for like ZMF pads or brainwaves or any other pads, you can do that. Now, we're going to get on to the rest of this, so I'm just going to do a quick plug for SOCAS, as he sent me these, which are full 3D printed replaceable housings for the L700s, for the driver. Because if you look, I mean, there's a big open space, and this is a big open space, so it's not really gaining any openness. It is just a smaller and much... Could you imagine having a 3D printed thing that is a much more resilient thing than the stock thing? Well, here you go. I don't know if the weight's going to go up, probably. The only thing that would concern me is that the driver is actually mounted flat. It doesn't, even though it's got this big bump out, that comes out and they can see the driver is not taking advantage of it. But there is a wide wedge here, and you would lose that wedge if you did that. But you could also mount giant angled pads onto this, so you'd get your angle back. So at some point in my future, probably not in the next coming weeks, I may take my L700s, take the drivers out, mount them into this. I probably would not make them wireless or detachable wire. I'm a little bit frightened of that sort of prospect of 600 volts. But if I did put them in this, I would then find a way to make one of these, and I bought this a couple months back. I got a good sale on the Odyssey carbon fiber headband. If I can make this and these make my L700s go, I'd do it. I'd do it in a heartbeat. Because these Stax are fucking amazing. They're just a pain in the ass to, like, you got like every little I'm afraid to touch it and break it. I don't want to break you. And this headband looks stupid and is not really that adjustable, considering I have it all the way down and then it fits and you have like a gap. Like I could stab my arm. That's basically how they sit in my head, is like that. I have that giant arch above there. Oh, that's the Waves NX tracker, the Bluetooth tracker to see location. So you could do like basically VR levels of head tracking. It's like what's built into the Odyssey Mobius. But the software lacks the ability to reset center with a key press, so it's sort of useless. But I'll link to that also anyway. So back onto these headphones or ear speakers. I can't call them headphones. Call me ear speakers. It's my thing. The only thing he said might change, and I read this post on HeadFi, is that putting the connector on this is going to very, very, very slightly change the resistance, because it does have to stop. This wire was going straight to the driver, and now there's something in the way. I'm actually going to grab my phone for a second. I'm going to go to my shopping list channel. Boom! Now I have an entire write-up of what this guy has changed. So with this removable cable mod, custom self-designed connector, added intrinsically creates a very small passive low-pass filter, which should be barely listenable, because he does know the electronics properties of that. He includes the CAD drawings and everything on the HeadFi post. The 252, this is where it gets interesting, because let me state this. When I started getting into Stax, the 252, this little fucking box, was it. It was $300 or $350, and it was the base model, and it was the starter one, and if you got a bundle, which when the L300s came out with the bundle, it was like $800, and I was like, that's a deal. That's a fucking deal. And here's the problem. And here's why this review is more relevant today than it was if I could have done it 2 months ago. They don't sell this anymore. If you buy a set of ear speakers, if you're like, all right, Zeos, it's time to get into the Stax game, here's your choices. From $4,300 for the SR009S flagship, new flagship, all the way down $1,500 for those, $792 for those. The L300s is only $430. I've looked at my wall. There's a ton of headphones I have up there that are more expensive than $430, and that gets you into electrostats. Here's the problem. When you go to the driver section, this doesn't exist. The cheapest one on this page, and this is it, this is 6, is $900, and it's the portable battery-powered one. They don't even make a cheap desk. Wait. The woo-wee is looking a lot more fucking promising now, isn't it? Because that just takes a speaker amp and itself. And it's cheaper than anything they've got going on here. Because this used to be enough. Here's my original. I very rarely use it. Now that I have my IFI set up over there and I'm powering it with the 789, lots of magic in that corner. So when I hooked my original Stax up to my original 252 and started doing A-B comparisons, and I couldn't split the DAC because it would be too much work to get it in there, I am using the Aoun X1S for my stock amp, or my stock energizer, and this is the Arist R2R from Massdrop, which will be coming with me to Rocky Mountain. I'm not sure where I'm putting that, but it's definitely going to be there. It'll either be on a near-field speaker setup or maybe on one of the headphone setups, because we have lots of stuff planned and we need DACs. DACs out our ass. So many DACs. So that is currently feeding through, remember those 175 hours of break-in RCA cables that I made fun of? Yeah, I bought a longer set because they're just so fucking pretty. And they say made in Japan on it. And if you're testing Stax, you gotta go with it. So I'll link to these crazy nice, they're so nice. They don't have to be expensive. They're like 30 bucks, but they're nice. So they're going in, they're feeding this. The list of mods for this Energizer are as follows. Power supply terminal reverse. So here's the stock Stax adapter. It's 12 volt, half an amp, and if you know how anything works, there's like the hole and then there's the surround bit, and it's usually positive in the middle and negative on the surround, except in Stax, where it's negative in the middle and positive on surround, which means you can't use like 99% of all power supplies. So this guy went out, got himself a 3.6 amp, which is 7 times more powerful than the stock, right? Yeah. And then he cut the end off of it and reverse the poles. So it's now, you can use any transformer that's 12 volt. You just have to cut the end off and reverse it. And then you can do that. Now I specifically recommended ones, but this will work. Boom, cut. So that's step one. A little bit underpowered with this. It's a little bit drained. Half an amp is not a lot of power, even at 12 volt. All right. Now we get on to the crazy shit. And he sent me a picture, but I can't find it right now. So inside of here, the entire board was reworked with silver solder. Completely wicked and resoldered, not just added. So he took every solder joint in this box, sucked away the cheap solder that some Japanese man meticulously put on, or probably a machine actually, and redid it with silver, because silver has slightly better conductivity. The power supply caps were replaced with larger ones for more consistent power delivery to the base hits. So he took out the little caps that were right here where this lands. That I had the picture of, I saw it. Much bigger caps in there now. A few signal caps were replaced and bypassed. And he could not for the life of him remember which parts he used. If you really need to dig it up, he has a project link for the mod. So basically, took Thor's hammer to this thing, replacing caps, redoing every bit of solder, changing the power supply. And that's honestly probably more affordable than just buying the $900 SRM D10. I'm sorry I had that up for so long. Can't get the full view of everything. So here's the notes. I've listened to this and that with my set, and I listened to this and that with his set. I don't believe the actual connectors have done anything that I can audibly hear. What he's talking about with like a low pass filter, it's like, I don't hear it. It's just their stock. I like the comfort on mine better because new pads and the spacers, when I tried it with the thicker spacers, the problem with Stax is they're very, very sensitive to how far away from your ear is and how big the gap is. So when I kept asking for narrower and narrower spacers, that was to try to bring it back to stock sound but not have my ears touch the inside. So these accomplish that and this doesn't. So if you guys looking for mods, I'll hook you up with SoCast, links in the description. You don't have to do this. I mean, at this point, if you had this, it would have been a lot easier to do that. But definitely spacer mod, something I recommend. For comfort, at least. Sound, all it does is add just this little bit more width. Like you can't, as soon as you go past, here's what it looks like. Ready? Perfect. Stay still perfect and a little bit wider, all fucked up. It's like as soon as you get further away, it's like pulling the headphones over your head. It's bad. So the actual ear speakers sound very similar, but this versus that is no contest. Now, it could also be the fact that I'm running an R2R crazy top-of-the-line DAC. Well, I say top of the line for people who actually understand what affordability is. This is what I consider top of the line. The Ione X1S has been there for 4 years, and it's a good DAC, but it ain't like an R2R DAC. But even if it's slightly the DACs that I'm hearing, the clarity and openness makes my original Stax, or either stack that I put onto that amp or that Energizer, sound muffled. And these are Stax. So to make Stax sound muffled means you've improved quite a bit in your modifications to an amp or an Energizer. Energizer, like the bunny. Like the bunny. So, I mean, here's the thing. What am I selling you here? I'm selling you hope, I guess. Because every review is like, oh, what's Zeos trying to sell me this week? Well, L700s are expensive. The new ones are certainly fucking expensive. And every one of these reviews, I get to pull out a Stax product, listen to it, and go, fuck. And then tell you to go to eBay and look for Energizers there. And I'm still going to do that. If you're looking to get into the electrostatic game, you have the choice of the mass drop revision of the COS ESP95X. I'll link that in the description, because that's it now. What else is, if you know of other electrostatics that are affordable, and by affordable, god damn it, I mean $1,000 and under for both an Energizer and the ear speakers. If you know of anything else besides the COS, tell me, because currently you cannot do that with new equipment with Stax. You have to buy used. You have to go find one of these in a trash bin, because they don't make a cheap one anymore. You gotta buy a Woo-Wee, and you gotta buy a powerful amplifier, and then you gotta buy a set of L300s or L500s, and you might just squeeze under that line. Actually, no, what's the Woo-Wee's 400? 500? Dink. A dink. A dink. This is a sad review, because this sounds great, and I'm all for it. They don't sell it anymore. I wish they still sold this, so at least you had the option to buy it and modify it, and you wouldn't have to go up in levels with the drivers. They call them just drivers. The most expensive one, by the way, so we got 900, 975. It's literally $75 more to go from the portable to the massive fucking chunk. That's almost $1,000. And then 1,200, 1,650, 1,780, and $5,800. Why are they in that order? This site's run by Woo Audio, so I gotta like, Jack, why are they in this order? The D50, the D10, the T8000. These all sound like Terminator models, by the way. The 727 II, the 007 TII. Wow. All right. Sad, because no one can attain Stax anymore without going like fucking full endgame budget. Because even the L300s don't make a sense now. Who the hell's going out to buy a $400 set of ear speakers if the cheapest Energizer is $900? You gotta have, where's the cheap Energizers, boys? This is it. Someone needs to mass produce one of these. You'll sell 200 a year, no more than that. But at least you can get people into the Stax game. Stax used to be easy, now Stax are hard. Now I have to protect my babies. It's okay, baby. No one's coming for you. I won't damage you or anything, it's good. Okay, this review is done. I mean, all I could say is that the actual amp sounds insanely better. Is it better than that stuff over there? No. No. It's closer to that than it is to this. This thing just had, you could tell they cheaped out. Power supply half an amp and a couple little small capacitors, and it was still like $350 fucking dollars. So the fact that it's now missing in action, and they made the next one 900 essentially, the hand tells the story. Okay, I might try to sound demo this, but it's really I'm not reviewing this. Nah, no sound demo. I want to do a Stax sound demo so bad on the new mics. If I need an excuse to, I could do it, but then I would just plug mine into that and run the wire over here, because you can't buy this. All you could do is mod it yourself, and that's the saddest thing ever. You can't even buy it anymore. Anyway, that wallpaper in the description. Pay attention to me. My eyes are here. Well, wherever my eyes are. Check out the link to hi-fi guides for Stax. I'm pretty sure there's an else. I don't need to make an ear speaker section, do I? Although it would literally be 5 posts, because I think there's as many ear speakers as there are available in the world. Like those Sonomas ones. Those Sonomas? Yeah. Hi-fi guides, Patreon, see these reviews early. $5 tier gets you into yard sales. Nothing here is going in a yard sale. Right? Maybe that later on. $10 tier gets you into a private Telegram chat, which is probably why my phone dinked. A dink. Because people are adding me in there and they won't answer the questions. Or they want to show me something cool. Or they're responding to a question I had, because I will ask them questions, because there's 185 people that probably combined know more than everybody I've ever met. So that's great. But that's it for today. You probably won't see a sound demo tomorrow. Maybe you will. I don't know. Maybe there's one in the description. You'll find out. And I'll find out. And I'll see you all tomorrow, where I go, fuck, why can't I buy this? Another time. Everything get covered? Headbands, SoCasts, we're good? Good.